Good evening. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
This is Jay Street.
And welcome to The Source. Fellas, first of all, welcome back from Saving the World, mission that you're on. But this week is just so much going on that I just keep trying to figure out how we're going to get so much in this little show we have. The city of Wilmington is where we always start at. Shooting is back up. We have fatal shooting in the Browntown section. 2 children, 1 o'clock in the morning, were shot. What is going on? They had one arrest though for a triple shooting in here. But what's going on?
Well, you've had in the last 3 weeks, you've had 3 shootings with teenagers and a young child being shot.
Mm-hmm.
The city, to its credit, has made arrests in 2 of those. The latest one they have not made arrests in yet. And I commend them for that.
Mm-hmm.
By the same token, you got 16 and 17-year-olds shooting 16 and 17-year-olds, preteens, 12-year-olds, 8-year-olds, now 7 and 6-year-olds in between. Where did they get the guns from? And who was running that down?
Yeah.
And you know, if you're not going to prosecute, and you have to prosecute the shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're not going to go find how they got the guns,
right,
and prosecute some adult somewhere in the line of wherever that gun came from,
mm-hmm.
put that gun in the hands of juveniles, that person needs to go to jail, and for a long time.
Wasn't there some reporting where a person was found buying some weapons and giving them to people in the city?
Yeah, that's straw purchasing,
right,
and that's why we passed that law to go after people like that. But in order to truly get to that side of the court, mm-hmm. the officers have to do a better job.
Mm-hmm.
So while they did find 2 out of the 3 shootings who shot, mm-hmm. If the officers can't find who's shooting, where the gun is, then there's no way to track where that gun is coming from and how it's getting on our streets. So it's a full circle type of thing. But Jay, you're right. In the last 14 days, actually, 14 days, mm-hmm. a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 16-year-old, and 2 18-year-olds have been shot in the city of Wilmington.
Mm. And you got teenagers arrested for doing the shooting. My other problem is, I know for a fact mm-hmm. that officials have said they know who the members of these gangs are.
Well, if they know, why are they arrested?
That's my question. All right, and we're at a point now where I just feel like ain't nobody gonna help us but us. Mm-hmm. And we need to make some demands. And one of those demands is, first of all, there should be a proliferation of cameras in these high crime areas. Second of all, somebody should be monitoring social media. And then once you should have civilians doing that work, and once you have a civilian, you have information, then that should be passed on to intervention special street workers, whatever we want to call them, to shut some of this stuff down before it happens.
Well, you know what? There was a proposal for that already.
Uh-huh.
There was a proposal for the creation of an Office of Violent Prevention that would do just that, that would also pit people who know our community, who live in our community, who've been through the streets, back to work to help stop the violence. And City Council and the Mayor's office said no. They decided that what they were going to do is bring in an out-of-state contractor from mm-hmm. Newark, New Jersey, mm-hmm. to come in and oversee a program, and also get rid of police positions. They got rid of 7 positions.
There was a reduction in the police. But what is the New York group doing? I mean, not New York. The Newark. What are they doing? I mean, is there any response to what they're doing?
Let me phrase it this way. Do you think that you can go to Newark, New Jersey, and walk up in the street and stop violent crime in Newark, New Jersey?
I don't know the ethos. I don't know the culture.
Okay. My point being, if you look at the Hope Commission plan, it clearly established hope zones.
Right.
Okay. I think that concept is still very, very viable.
Wasn't he the
and
author?
the fact of the matter.
Let me ask you, who was the executive director?
Right.
The mayor.
Right. He was.
And who else was on that?
Everybody and their mother in high capacity.
At the time, he was lieutenant governor, but now our current governor was on it.
That's right.
Nnamdi Chukwocha was on it, who's a state rep now. Mm-hmm. You have people who are in positions of power where we got a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with millions of dollars coming into the state. Mm-hmm. Right? I would get it if, beforehand, we don't have the funds here. We're going to have to raise taxes. But we have millions of dollars coming in, not only to the city, but to every local government here in the state of
But that
Delaware,
proves something.
and they did not want to pay
That
towards
proves something. That proves that they don't care. Because if they cared, this is the season to fix it. If you got all these people who are in position to write even that whole plan and these zones that you were speaking of, then why isn't it being executed? Because they don't care.
Well, it costs money, and you try to get.
We got money.
You want to know where they could get money from? They could get money from the Riverfront Development Corp, but they want to give them tax braces. They could get money from Bacini Poland, but they want to give them a bunch of taxpayer dollars, but not hire local people.
As we speak, am I correct? There's a $9 million surplus in this year's budget that has just been passed.
Yeah.
Okay? Separate and apart from that, I know because after negotiations, the county gave the city $6 million in money for the sewer. The part of the sewer that we use, they weren't expecting that money. They were expecting to have to spend that money in litigation because we were going to trial.
Right.
My point being, that's $15 million that I know about. And if you don't give preferential treatment to stopping these shootings and stopping this crime, then you're not doing what you need to do. Second, and I'm gonna open the door to what I know y'all want to get to. I don't support eminent domain, but darn it, we got to do something about these vacant properties. The vacant properties have to be dealt with because they are safe haven for illicit activities, drug activities, and all those things that make this place a terrible place to live.
Correct. And so the city has about 1,500 vacant properties, right? And 1 in 5 of each one of those properties are owned by the city already.
Oh, wow.
That is a horrible number.
Could you restate that again?
1 in 5 of those properties are already owned by the city of Wilmington.
Okay.
Of 1,500. 1,500, right, are owned by the city of Wilmington or by the land bank.
So that's 300.
Yes.
Okay.
Then the others,
and that doesn't count the properties that have already been dealt with, been torn down, and are now vacant lots, which are also really not helpful.
Right. Exactly. So, but here's the thing. Here's our issue with eminent domain. The city has the power to take people to court and to take these homes. Right. Now, what they want to do, what they want to be able to change the law, and this came out of SB 7 back in 2009 when Dennis was still down. Dennis Williams, the former mayor, was still a state rep, and Margaret Rose Henry. When the Supreme Court,
how old were you then?
That's all right. He's a baby. Go ahead, keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
I was a freshman in high school. Yeah. When the Supreme Court had their ruling and it opened up us for eminent domain, the state of Delaware said, look, let's put some provisions on this. We can do it for public assets, public use, utilities, and stuff like that. We can't do it for development zones. This bill, particularly this bill that was introduced by Representative Trococha and Bud Friel and all of them, this bill was for development zones. So if you live in an area that's blighted already, they didn't care what was going to happen there.
Yeah, that's the issue.
If Bacini and them wanted to come in and build condos there, that's when they want to take the property.
And let me say this to you, and while I am not going to ever support no eminent domain unless it is really with a sincere heart, the problem is we don't want, change that language, Curry. The city, maybe even I can blame it on the mayor, does not want to do affordable housing because it is their opinion that if you do real affordable housing, black people and Latino people are going to bring a lot of crime. But there are some poor people who live right. There are poor people who do right. There are poor people who have to work at McDonald's. And not to have affordable housing is an issue. And getting rid of these blighted properties needs to happen.
But on the other side of that, they maintain the position that the Woodlawn trustees, Habitat for Humanity, and others are going to come in and build affordable housing.
But we don't saw their affordable housing.
That's true. When you do build affordable housing, that's good for the community. Don't get me wrong. But this is what happens. When you raise the property value around the affordable housing, that means it's affordable housing just means it's a decreased amount of money you're paying. But when you raise that by 12%, when you raise that by 20%, that means you're also raising the rate of that affordable housing. So if the affordable housing is $100 and the market rate housing is $1,000, and you raise that to $2,000, well, that affordable housing is now $200, right? That's what's happening. So when you raise that property value that they keep talking about by bringing condos, that's going to raise and price out people out of affordable housing. It's going to work. It's going to be affordable for people who work for the bank,
Yeah.
who are already struggling, who don't want to pay $2,500 for apartments down at the riverfront. They'll be able to come and get affordable housing over East Side.
We
now.
have to rethink what is going on, and we have to stop moving so fast. Yes, crime is up. Yes, we want people arrested. Yes, we want to make sure that we're dealing with the blighted properties, but we cannot give them the license to sell us. The only way we can do it is that we get an eminent domain bill through. He's right. They want to make sure they can develop and redevelop areas and not use it for public use.
But that doesn't negate my point of view that until we solve the problem with these vacant properties, we're not going to.
We can solve them.
We're not going to. Well,
we can solve them.
We need to make that effort.
But we don't care.
Instead of sitting here talking about
it. No, not we. We ain't got the power. We bring it to the public. We bring it to the public knowledge.
I'm gonna say it one more time. I think we're at a point now where ain't nobody gonna help us
but us.
Okay, so how are we going to help ourselves?
By electing people who represent people.
We can't wait for the next
election.
You
know, I'm working on doing something with the legal side of it, because at this point we need some litigation going and moving, since people don't want to take to the streets to the level that I believe that you ought to take the streets.
Well,
I just think they're playing the game and they're using the violence in the city to push legislation and to push law. Because once I saw that lie on that flyer, it became apparent to me that they're a bunch of prevaricators.
What's that mean?
That means that's a professional word. That's
15-syllable word.
That's a professional word for liars. They just sit back and they lie.
Say that?
Because I got to be careful what I say, okay? But I feel that they prevaricate. It's about you got to go through the court system in order to take a property. It is nowhere in that bill, and it shows me that there's a hidden agenda. Look, we got to move on because we got so much going on today. But I just think that if they cared, we could deal with this crime.
You know,
if they cared, we can do well.
End up preaching.
Well, I'm always preaching. That's who I am.
Praise God.
Yes, I'm an ambassador for the Lord and His people, because that's most important. Now, I want to move on just a little bit further, because we got so much going on today, and I get stirred up, and you got me stirred up today. Maybe because Kobe's back.
That was my purpose. That was my intention.
Okay. Well, what's going on with the dirty water in Wilmington then? Since you want to talk about that.
All I know is it stinks.
It stinks? How does it taste?
I buy bottled water. I have no idea how it tastes.
Yeah, so this is a water treatment issue, right?
Yeah.
It's very interesting that, our water quality is getting worse and worse, but our taxes are going up and up, right?
Yeah.
So where's that money actually going?
Mm-hmm.
The money that they keep saying that they need to take from our pockets, but we're not seeing it going back into where it should go. But where we are seeing it go is downtown, down to the riverfront, to these big developers. And I know I keep talking about it, but here's the thing. How are you going to talk about quality of houses on the outside where you have residents who are already struggling to get clean drinking water?
And everybody can't afford to buy the water that he can afford to buy.
And then you say, oh, well, for crime, we got to clean things up. Well, listen, if I'm someone, I don't want to be in my house if I don't have clean drinking water, clean water to shower in.
But
I was going to say that's another thing, too.
They said it's just algae, and that doesn't hurt you. You can drink it.
All right.
You can drink it?
I want to see Pazicki come on the show and drink a cup of it.
And we'll give him the cup of water to make sure he drinks a real cup of it. Yes. You invite him.
Him, John Rago. If they think it's okay.
Oh, no.
Right? That's what this is my huge concern with this administration.
Y'all just pick on the mayor. The mayor doesn't run the water sewer treatment.
He does, because when you're in charge, you're in charge.
Statements saying it's okay.
It's okay.
If you believe it's okay,
come on the show and drink a glass with us.
Have we asked, see, here again, isn't it leadership's responsibility to ask for an outside opinion as to whether or not that water is safe to drink or not?
No.
It is.
If you were in the right community, the community would have cried out, Mr. Mayor, don't you send me no memo talking about the water is safe without it being scientifically proven. Because it's Wilmington, it doesn't matter. Because those who can afford to buy drinking water is going to be buying their drinking water. But those of us who are in the poor neighborhood who cannot afford to buy drinking water just going to drink it because the mayor said it.
You know you got a whole garage full of drinking
water.
Oh,
I know I do. And I got a good filtering system in my house. But that ain't my fight is not for me. My fight is for my people. So you need to just chill.
You're making my point for
And
me.
look, this is the American Water Works Association said it's very simple. Usually when stuff like this happens, it simply means the tanks have not been cleaned properly. That's all it is.
Well, all this tax raising, why hasn't it been cleaned properly? If that is the case, why haven't it been cleaned properly?
That's a good question to ask.
City of Wilmington,
go back several administrations, okay? And the concern I have is when I was Parks Director, going back then, and prior to, the Department of Public Works ran the water sewer treatment plant, and the people who ran it were members of Local 320. For whatever reason, previous administrations decided to privatize that. So it's privatized, and my question is and will continue to be, who's really watching the store? And what needs to be put in place to make sure that we have outside opinion as to whether or not that water is safe or not?
Mr. Rigo, could you come on our show and could you answer these questions for us? Could you answer for the city of Wilmington, since you're the one who's the mouthpiece of the administration? Mr. Mayor, could you come on our show? Tell me her name.
Washington.
Miss Washington, HBCU grad. Could you come on our show and share with us these answers?
And I just want to make it very clear.
Y'all keep picking on John Rego, who I think does an excellent job.
Oh, you full of malarkey.
And my cousin Tanya, who I think does an excellent job.
And you still full of malarkey.
But the fact of the matter is, y'all are making assumptions that you shouldn't make.
Okay, tell me about that.
Nobody going to tell Mike Persicki what to do. He's running the city with an iron fist. And if anybody thinks that he's not making decisions, that's the administration. He's not a chump. He's not going to be pushed
But
around.
you know what? You know what I heard?
And he is just like the auditor we're getting ready to get to. She said, I'm running this with an iron fist. That's the way I run things.
Yeah, but you know what?
And they're not the only ones.
But you know what? People have a right. If you're running it with an iron fist, people have a right. If your cousin is so good and your boy is so good, they have a right to resign. But as long as they hold those positions, they will be held accountable the same way.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we just saying. We ain't slow on this side of the table.
The ultimate authority is the ultimate authority.
Yeah.
And anybody.
She don't even look like you. Y'all cousins.
Anybody that works
Are they
over
really cousins?
Anybody that works over here in Easy is going to do what you
It's
tell them to do.
Zion. And no, they will. No, are you crazy? This is a Baptist church. Man, we got to vote on what kind of toilet paper to use. I wanted to use Scotty, and they wanted to use the one that's on sale for $1. You talking about this is a Baptist church? I want to hear that. They wanted to go to Big Lots, and I want to go up to BJ's. No, it don't work that way.
But
this is
I just want to
democracy.
be clear. I'm not taking anything out of context. In the mayor's own press release, it says the water is safe to drink and there's no need to boil the water. Even saying that there's algae in the water, he's saying you can go ahead and drink it.
But you can drink algae water.
I dare. Go ahead. We're gonna bring something up. We're gonna bring something out of this faucet here, and we're gonna bring it for you to drink. Okay?
I didn't say I was going to drink it. I said that's what they said. You could drink.
Look,
I
I
already said that I don't drink.
Since you already opened up the door to talk about our state auditor, then I want to go right there. Because who gives the Democratic Party the right to say resign? I see all the press on it. She helped her daughter out. What's wrong with that?
If I'm her,
Okay.
I tell all the Democrats to kiss me where the sun don't
Oh,
shine.
let me turn this side of the table.
Okay? Because what I was convicted of, which I happen to be appealing, I'm asking for a new trial. You can't stop me from running for office on. I am running currently. You can't take me off the ballot. What makes you think you can make me resign? So what I'm going to do, I am going to lace Route 13 and Route 1 South with signs that say, end political prosecution, vote for me. And then I'm going to take the other side and say, I'm going to go on the north side, I'm going to put up signs that say, stop political activism, vote for me. Because this was selective prosecution, malicious prosecution. How do y'all justify in Thursday's paper, it's crystal clear, there are other public officials who have their children working in their offices. You indicted me, but you didn't invite them. It's malicious and it's selective. And second, this was a pre-political hit in preparation for the 2024 campaign for governor, and statewide people that are potentially candidates are the Attorney General, me as state auditor, and she selectively decided to prosecute me. And I'm running on that. Win, lose, or draw, I'm running.
Yeah. Now, come on, let me hear your side, because I hear you. I thought you was going to be opposite. You never cease to amaze me. Go ahead.
Yeah, so again, just to lay the groundwork,
Okay.
right? McGinnis was found guilty of misdemeanors in conflict of interest, structuring because of the contracting, keeping it under the $50,000 bid, $50,000 where it would have to go to bid, and official misconduct of the office, right? So people are calling on her to resign because of the official misconduct side of it. Now, there has been throughout the years, decades of the state, local, and federal level, people have hired their family members on, whether as consultants or just flat out employees. I think the issue here that everyone's raising is the position she hired her daughter in, she fired someone to simply make room for her daughter.
Do you know that as a reality, or you just go off of what
No,
you
that's
heard?
what they're saying,
Okay, that's what
right?
they're
So
saying.
that's why they're
And
saying
I,
it's
as
an
an
issue.
auditor, run my department with an iron fist, and I can hire and fire who I want.
Well,
This is Delaware. It's employee at will state. I can hire and fire who I want under the
Well,
law.
No, under the law you can do that, but you cannot do that discriminatively. That's why he made his comment. His comment was that they fired a person to put her there. You can't fire me because I'm black, just because you want to fire me.
But
you got to have a
the person
reason,
that they
even though they say
but the
at will,
person-
there's a reason.
And I followed the trial.
Okay.
And the person that they say they fired to put her there hasn't testified to that. There's
Well,
no
I
supporting
can't
evidence
argue
of that.
That's true.
I can't argue that.
So again, everyone in leadership, from the state party chair to the entire leadership of the Senate, and 2 out of the 3 in leadership in the House have called on her to resign. Now, the most
Speaker is-
notable,
and the speaker is playing like it's Christmas. Silent night.
the Speaker of the House, who I have issues with, is very
He was
silent
gonna lock
on
you
this.
up.
He was going to lock young black organizers up, but yet he sat silent when Gerald Brady stole firewood, when Gerald Brady said racist things, when another state rep beat her
But that's not the Gerald
husband,
Brady. That's not the
when
Gerald Brady
the
that
state
I need to
auditor,
work
who
with.
was his
You know the man
campaign
has some-
treasurer.
You know the man has some issues.
Oh,
And he
man.
said
We all got issues.
He said that he had post-traumatic, and I believe him because that's not how Gerald Brady operated
Yeah,
previously.
well, if he had those things, he need to
Does
go to
that
the
stop
doctor.
the racist
He need to go to
comments?
the doctor because he's
No,
white.
no,
Don't
no,
mean you get a
I'm
you
just
get a pass.
saying he's a completely changed man from the
Okay,
person he
okay,
started
but
with.
you get
Oh, yeah.
but we get ready to talk
Something-
about
something
we get ready,
happened.
we get ready to talk about what
Have you
happened
no
where a
empathy?
person got. Yeah, I have a lot of empathy, but I don't have empathy when there's no sympathy for my people. Because you talk about how he got post syndrome, whatever, post traumatic syndrome.
Newspapers
I don't
didn't
hear
even
that.
have to contact him. He contacted them to give comment to say we should arrest them if there's a small chance anything should go wrong. Well, something went wrong here. She's convicted of a misdemeanor. Now
Yeah.
you wanted us charged. You wanted
You're
us
black.
charged.
Why don't you face the facts?
But here's the thing: I was
Did
his
your mama tell
campaign
you?
treasurer.
Did your mother tell you that you were black?
Yeah,
You sometimes forget. What color is she?
she black.
Why would
No.
he? But no, not sure. I know your mother's
thought-
black. I'm talking about
See, I
But
don't-
my point
I
is,
don't think
he's
think-
not going to speak up.
I
No.
don't think it has anything to do with race. I think that
I do.
Well, the fact of the matter is, what she did was inappropriate, but I don't think
I don't think it was illegal.
I don't think it rose to the level that they've made it rise to.
That's
I,
what
I,
I'm saying.
I just don't think
what
that.
I'm saying is this is another in a long line of Speaker Swarthkoff's not calling out those individuals who are white. The same thing happened before he was Speaker of the House and he was a high-ranking official in the state police down in Sussex when Representative Steve Smith was under his command, sexually harassed a woman, and he is there's an investigation going on with that. And with all that going on, Speaker Swarthoff, a Democrat, is actively campaigning for Steve Smith, a Republican, to be not only in elected office, but to be elevated to state senator. That is a
It's the-
issue
it's the-
with
it's the
me.
dirty games they play.
Am I correct? That's current. Let's see. Or this is a new seat.
No, that's a current. It's moving to the Senate, so it's a seat that's already been there. It's Ernie Lopez's seat.
But he knew he probably got an ally with Smith, and that's probably why he's doing that. And that's how the good old white boys club go.
Yeah.
You know what? And because we only got a little bit more time on
And
this
he
segment,
shouldn't be in
I got
leadership
to jump
anymore.
one more time since you want to talk about black stuff. And what I was really saying is, you know, you're black, but stop thinking they're going to be treated the
Right.
same way. What happened with this brother, young brother? And they've really demonized him too. Some people have, and I'm glad that the people are starting to really speak up in Ohio and Akron. But 90 shots, 60 hit him. How could this be? The man, and then they said a gun was fired out the window. They can't find the gun, or did they find the gun? They can't find the gun. What if he threw the gun out because he didn't want it to be in a car and it went off? But when he got up out of the car and started running, 90 shots. How is that so?
Well, here's the thing. There was 8 officers, 90 shots, 60 of them hit his body.
Right.
60 of them hit his body. Now, let's look at the facts. Was he trying to get away? Absolutely.
Right.
Was there a chase? Absolutely. But also, the guy who killed all those people
Hello.
on 4th of July
Hello.
also tried to get away. Was there a chase? Yes, it was. He had just killed 6 people, injured 30 others. And guess what? They were able to take him alive with no incident, and he still had the gun.
I was
on him.
gonna say, he still
This
had-
is America. This is the policing in America. They shot this young 25-year-old black boy 60 times.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, you were there in Romney Square when I said it, and I don't think it's any different. In my opinion, we have one police department in this state that if you run on foot and you get caught, you're going to the hospital. We have another police department that it has appeared to me over a long period of time that if you try to escape in a vehicle, they will shoot and kill you. And you have another police agency that has a practice of if you shoot or shoot at one of us, there will be no trial. And I think that's exactly what happened in Akron, Ohio. And worse yet, when they took him to the medical examiner, he's dead, and they took him in handcuffs.
That's what bothered me. That bothered me. I mean, that means
No,
the boy was shot 60 times.
because see, it goes back to what I just said, the unwritten rule. You shoot or shoot at one of us, there's no trial, and if I'm the one you shot at or I'm the one you shot, when after we're done with you, I'm putting my handcuffs on, or the person that you shot, I'm putting their handcuffs on you. That's what happened.
That's horrible. That's horrible. That's deplorable. That and for those of you who are watching us, you got to really take the anger, and we got to really channel it in a way where you understand. Stop allowing these folks to act like there is no racism. Stop allowing people to tell you it ain't all about race. It is. It is. How is this? This boy in this nice town outside of Chicago, plot out, kill all 6. Now it's the 7th person that have died. 7 people. He still got another gun, and they able to bring him in without any harm. But yet you got a black boy who's running because he's. I'm not saying he's not guilty of it. He ran a stop sign. He is guilty of running it. Okay.
But just like
Is it to that level?
But just like when I was a juvenile and got locked up for disorderly conduct, and the disorderly conduct was we ran when the cops came up on the corner, and Judge Williams said, via the city ordinance that I wrote when I was city solicitor, running's not a crime.
Right.
Well, it is for people who got that ego
But
that you don't
can't
run
tell
from
the
it.
cops here that.
No. It's not. Running's not a crime unless I'm Ho-Po and I'm following you and I shoot you, and wherever you get shot, you just
But
get
speaking
shot.
of disorderly conduct, I'm glad you brought that up because 2 of my friends were arrested in Akron, Ohio. One, Bianca Taylor, who's the aunt of Breonna Taylor, who was killed in 2020, and then the father of Jacob Blake Sr.
Okay.
was arrested, who's the father of Jacob Blake Jr., who was shot in 2020 in Kenosha, Wisconsin, but he lived to tell his story. Now, both of them were arrested for leading, quote-unquote, a riot and disorderly conduct. If you look at the footage of when they made the arrest, it was peacefully. They were singing hymns, and they were calling for the cops not to kill any more black people, and they were arrested for that. And when they got arrested, when the cops arrested them, things went bad. People got upset, and things started to get destructive.
Do you think, we got to go to a commercial break, but do you think that maybe we should call your friends back or have another shutdown of the city?
Yeah.
And I'm asking that question because you're poking the bear. I'm one who believe in protests. I'm now have joined the street band, and I'm believing in litigation. So I'm trying to put some things together financially to help get some lawyers beyond Delaware to help some of us who are really struggling representing people who the powers to be can care less about.
But see, I'm exasperated, among other things, about the fact that I'm sitting in the room and watch Kobe and the young people, his colleagues, take the lead, get a commitment for statewide body camera program, get a commitment from the mayor that regardless of whether you get funding or not, he was going to do body camera, which he kept which he kept his promise, and I thanked him for that. But we do not have the wherewithal to have the body camera footage released. And I think that's just outrageous.
But
a minor incident, and it's not minor, okay, but an incident where a county police officer was arrested for pulling a teenage girl by her hair and dragging her on the ground, and that was a matter of public record. I asked for the relief of the body camera footage, and I was told no. We have a policy if the officer's arrested, we're not going to release the body camera footage. Well, what sense does that make? Why did they go through that if you can't ever see it? And why are we among the few that are speaking out on this?
Well, because there's a lot of people who are in people's pockets. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Well, we've had a very lively. You got any energy left to be able to talk about the Kobe Corner? Because there's a couple things you got on your heart that you want to share with us. So let's hear what's going on with Kobe's Corner.
Yeah. So again, session has ended, and it's been a long session. It's been a lot of good done. Some of the highlights that I really want to push out there was the paid family leave program, the program that sets up a pension and retirement program for workers who traditionally wouldn't be in a field to get that.
I'm trying to get more information on that too.
Right, and they should be able to build out the program over the next few months, and then be able to get information out to people by that fall time. Okay. So we'll definitely be talking about that more on the show for people who need that help as well too. And then another thing that they did that was huge was raise the minimum wage to 15 over the next 5 years. It's going to go up a little faster. Again, it's not exactly where we need to be, but it is going to help a little bit, especially with inflation going up. While gas prices are going down, other things are still very expensive right now.
Gas prices going down.
It is.
Gas is going down.
It's going down 40
cents.
When Trump was president, it was $2. I don't want to hear it.
You just want to be controversial. You ready to get the pastor ready to cuss you out, and he don't even cuss.
You ain't getting no cherry if you cuss me out.
Go ahead, man. This guy's crazy.
And then on top of that, there has been a host of voting rights bills that have passed. We've seen a nationwide attack on voting rights. And what Delaware was able to do was expand access to the polls. You have same-day voter registration if you're not registered already.
So now,
you have SB 230 or 330 or 320. I'm sorry. Passed the House and waiting for the governor to sign it. That allows for no excuse absentee voting and mail-in balloting. You had the early voting, which is going to be the first time we're going to see that in September for the first time, which gives you a 10-day window to go vote early up until just that Monday you won't be able to vote, and then Tuesday is election day. It's the last day you can vote, so that because we don't have it as a holiday here, it gives people a bigger window to go vote during the weekend, during one of your days off during the week.
Absolutely.
So that you can make time to make sure your voice is heard. And hopefully what that will all do together is see an increase in people voting. Delaware has very high voter registration because of our DMV. We have an opt-in, opt-out situation. We want to make sure people are actually getting to the polls who want to be at the polls and aren't facing barriers that may pop up in the small run. So I think those were all good. You saw a lot done around reproductive rights and access here, and you're seeing what's happening already. There was a minor who was raped in Ohio who could not get a abortion. She's 85 pounds. She had to go out of state to get that.
10 years old.
10 years
That's
old.
horrible.
10 years old.
It's horrible.
Down in another state down south, there's a 12-year-old who was raped by her
look,
father.
and she was 3 days past when she found out the law to be able to get the abortion. So they said it doesn't matter. That's why I got so angry. Even in my message on Sunday, I went in. Because I think that we got to pay attention to this. And what I also say, and I'm going to let you go back to your next point, but since these men want to take away all these women's rights, they need to take away the Viagra right too.
Yeah.
How you like that? Not talking to you, I'm just talking to people in general.
But, good things happen in the Delaware General Assembly, but I'm concerned that you leave the door swinging wide open for the litigation that the other side has promised. And with this Supreme Court, and folks threatening to go all the way to Supreme Court, it may have opened some doors.
But if Biden would just,
we don't want to
you've
close.
never heard me speak ill of Biden, okay? I don't know the man, Biden. I don't know the man, the president. But I'm going to say this to you. This is why he should have delivered on his promise, and some pieces of the base he should have listened to. It's time to increase the number of people on the Supreme Court. It's time to kill a filibuster. Because you know what? As soon as McConnell gets in, everything they want, they're going to get it.
By the same token, all right, and the things that the problems I've had with the president and his past are my issues. But we keep picking on him. He doesn't have 50. He's never had 50.
Right.
He's got 48. You got
Right.
48 and two dinos.
Right.
How are you going to do anything?
There's a couple of things he could have done, though. But we'll talk about that. Let me give you back his minutes.
No, that's exactly where we're at with things. And the last point we touched on a little bit already is the eminent domain.
Yeah.
So while the bill was killed in committee this year, the mayor and the bill sponsor are working very hard to bring it back with, people criticizing the organizers for what we did of bringing the community together and let the community talk.
Thank you.
And either Councilwoman Maria Cabrera said, well, we shouldn't have just done one public comment. Well, yeah, I agree with you, Councilwoman. Y'all should have put this together. You knew about this for months, and you chose not to. You said in your own statement, oh, well, we started talking about this in February. So why'd you wait until June 2nd to introduce it?
Hush, hush.
Don't blame us for not organizing public stuff. You threw it on us at the last second.
Can I add that one? Let me add another one. Don't blame them because they read. Don't blame them because they pay attention. See, you used to people not reading and paying attention. Thank God that we had people like him and the crew who keep the community aware.
But the fact of the matter is, I supported, stood with you, proud to stand with you. But I also said that I was willing to undertake the leadership to try to address it legally. And I don't think that if that legislation had passed, that it would withstand legal scrutiny.
No.
Absolutely not.
That's right. You're right. You're right. That's why.
Even in this time with these courts.
Right. But that's why I said sometimes you got to go to the streets, you got to do the protest, and sometimes you got to do the legal. And in this case, thank God the public pressure was there. And I'm glad we had people, even though we criticized.
Okay, here's the fact of the matter is, it got taken out and stopped with one press conference and one community meeting.
Yeah.
What would have happened if you really had time to notify and bring the community
Well,
together?
but that's why they didn't talk about it from February until then,
Right.
and they had that one little meeting, and they didn't know
And
what happened.
I just want to add
But it's a
in,
developer's dream.
Keep talking. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I just want to add in that both attorneys from Legal Aid and attorneys from Morris James have both said that
Attorneys from
proving
where?
Morris
Morris
James
Turns from where?
Go ahead.
have both said that this bill was way too vague, and what the mayor and the bill sponsor were saying was truly their intent with it. They should have put it in the bill. So we not only had the community on our side, which I'm disappointed that Maria Cabrera can't see that, but we also had
She's
the
bought.
legal community
When you're bought,
on
how
our
can you see
side.
Now, the
something?
lady has a right to have her opinion.
No,
without
she don't.
somebody
She's a
saying-
public servant. She's a
But- but
politician.
she can-
She has to
why can't-
voice
why
the
can't
opinion
we
of the community.
disagree?
She has to voice
can
the opinion
disagree.
of the community that she represents.
We can
and that
disagree.
is
She
not
represents
happening.
the entire city.
Well, she needs to- well, she need to realize
and there are
that's-
a bunch of people in the city who want eminent domain.
No,
We
there's a
can
bunch of people in the
disagree,
city
but
who want
just
blighted houses fixed, not to take people's
But
property.
just like the bill sponsor, Maria Cabrera got talking points from Bud Friel, who has had his hands on this for a long time, and from the mayor's office. They don't know what's truly in the bill, because if they did, I don't even think they would have been okay with what they were
Yes, they
talking
would have,
about.
because it's only gonna
when
fund
we
my
called them
campaign.
out on different line items in the bill, they said, "Oh no, that's not in there. That's not in there. That's not what they told me."
Oh, they
it's
don't read.
very funny.
They don't read. Do they have staffers up in the city council?
Oh, they do, but the council people don't listen. Because if Maria would have just sat down and read the bill instead of attacking the community, well, she was very quiet in that meeting. At least
I felt bad
Councilman
for your
Chris
boy.
Johnson stood up.
Yeah, the lot was just.
But she sat right in the middle. We gave her an opportunity to talk, just like we gave every other council person an opportunity to talk. She had nothing to say.
You know, they didn't invite me.
Well, we don't need to invite you. That
Well,
was your
like
fight.
Councilman Johnson and like Maria said, it had nothing to do with the west side. It was all north side over there just talking because they're one-sided. But this isn't even a north side issue.
I had a lady call me on the phone and say, I don't care whether you're city, county, whatever. I want to know what your position is. And then she went on to tongue lash everybody, including me, because she's not happy with what's being done with the properties that the city currently owns, and what has happened. Even when the city owns the properties, you tear them all down. You leave vacant properties. That doesn't help the situation that they're living in.
I agree with you.
In the midst of, and you know, she's sick and tired of being sick and tired.
And
you got the illicit activity. Those young people running up down the street selling drugs like it's popcorn.
Yeah.
In the list of properties
gotta
that
go break.
Representative Rakocha and Representative Friel sent us to tell us we need to learn about all the vacant properties in the city of Wilmington, they listed about 150 of them. Of the 150, 80 of them were city-owned.
Oh wow! So did they not know that?
They didn't.
What? Who do we have?
They said
is
we're lying
Bozo,
about
is
them being
Bozo in
city-owned.
charge?
Okay, but you know, beyond the vacant properties, beyond the vacant houses, and I think all this is relevant, even though they're not nuisance properties yet. How many vacant buildings do we have?
Oh, well,
But we have
issue.
2 million square feet of vacant
Well,
office
that's
space.
that's another whole.
Including Warrior,
Yes.
including Palmer,
Yeah.
including a major part, if not all, of Pulaski, including
Which
St.
can
Tom-
be used
including
for good
St. Thomas.
things, but
well,
they are not
Pulaski's
using them.
being used right now for.
Well, I know Moyer is not, and I know Palmer is not.
Palmer.
All I can do is go off the ones I know specifically.
Right.
They're not. But look, we got to take a break. But I just want to say this to the whole community: we have to wake up. School days. Y'all remember that movie back in the day? It was made up in the 90s. You remember? You remember that, don't you? We got to wake up. At some point, we got to wake up and we got to stop allowing these politicians to play us to the level that we are allowing them to play us. We'll be right back. And we're back. We have added 2 segments to our show. We have the corner with Kobe, and now we have that heat, that street heat. But before we let street heat get started, I want to just ask him, because I saw 10-0 in favor of rezoning. So what was his name? Capano can become even richer and build houses that are much bigger. You voted for it. What you got to say now?
I got to say that as far as the rezoning from the former Brandywine Country Club to what he plans to place on the property. It was perfectly legal. More importantly, he got the approval of the people who live in the area. They were satisfied, and this was after a 10-year period of time. So yes, I voted for the rezoning because it was fundamentally fair to the developer, the community. It fits in with what the community said was okay and was pleased with. And then I raised sand about the concern I had because the man, as part of the negotiation process, not building houses, he donated 44 acres to the Brandywine School District. Mm-hmm. He didn't tell the Brandywine School District what to do or what to propose to do with that property. Here's the property. They decided at this point that they're going to take that property and build an early childhood education center. Isn't that wonderful? That's just grandiose, except for the fact that the primary participants are supposed to be children in the city of Wilmington, and how fundamentally unfair, and as far as I'm concerned, just absurd to you have an early childhood education program right now in P.S. DuPont School, where the kids in the northwest area of the city are attending now. Is that the best place for early childhood education where you've got a middle school? No. But is it better there, or are you going to send them all the way up next to Widener College?
Are they going to bust them in?
You're talking about preschool children now.
Oh, the kids I serve?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
You're talking about preschool children. So what I said was it wasn't fair for me to hold it against the developer, but I got a major problem with the school district.
But you know what, that's another hidden hand.
So what I'm saying right now is, okay, and they had all these approvals coming from people who lived in the county, school district people. And the target population is the northwest area of the city of Wilmington that houses the Brandywine School District. And there was no support, no denial, no anything from that part of the city because they never included them.
Yeah, but
there hasn't been a scintilla of a discussion about the residents and the impact with the residents and the impacted parents. And if nothing else, I want the community to know. Now, if y'all think it's a good idea to take the kids out of the city, preschool children,
that's not even the issue.
And transport them up there next to Concord Mall, next to Widener College, and then if something happens, maybe the district will find a way to get them back to you. I don't know what their plan is.
Let me just add this to you. I don't think now that I hear the children they're going to serve. Let me say this to you. You missing something. Just hear me before you get your blood pressure up. They said that the target population was the northwest, whatever section. But when you're dealing with child care, they know parents. There's no pickup they do have pickup and delivery, but that's not, no. That is for the parents who live in that community.
And if that's what they want to do, that's fine.
But they didn't do that. But
to say they're saying that the highest need they have in the district for preschool education is in the city of Wilmington.
No.
But they're not going to house it in the city of Wilmington.
Prevarications, what word do you want me to call it? No. You know what? The big article is out, and I'm glad you went there. The big article is out on the need for teachers in preschool. And they're pumping a lot of money because the middle class white working women have no one to care for their children. So what they're doing is they are making sure they're going to address that need because that's the community where that's going to be built. And a lot of people are not paying attention because in the city, we have a couple of centers, and some of them should be closed down, but we have a couple of centers, but people got to take their children to the place, and some children are picked up. But for the most part, parents are dropping them off.
But see, I don't think you're completely right on that. I think that is a target population because those parents have daycare centers, traditional daycare centers and preschools that they're already sending their children to. And they're not going to all of a sudden now send those kids to a public preschool education. I don't think it's going to happen.
That's what I'm trying to.
I think what they're saying.
No, wait till you see the building. Wait till you see the technology. Some people be amazed and mesmerized when they come here to East Iron Fair and see the technology we have with the smart boards and things of that nature. And they're like, oh my gracious, I've never seen this. When you see what they're going to put in this building, yes, they will change over.
Okay, but there's a prerequisite.
But there's no free, there is no such thing as public preschool. There is no such thing as that. You pay. Now, there's a lot of us who accept purchase of care, but there is no free. No free.
That's not true. Okay.
Name it.
Head Start, ECAP,
Well,
Early
Head Start is,
Childhood, Early Childhood Assistance Program.
Head Start is. I'm sorry.
Okay, and here's my other point. The Head Start performance standards are crystal clear. You have to have parents involved in all levels of decision making in Head Start.
Okay, Head Start.
And the reason I negotiated, in part, in the settlement, because the school funding litigation settlement with the state says you're going to double the number of Head Start spaces. Okay, and I said half of those. And we agreed and settled on it. Half of those will go to community-based organizations because we do it better. Okay, we've been doing it. You got centers, preschool centers that have been open 50, 75 years. I don't know how long King has been open, but even in the ECAP program that I had established in Hilltop, we were the first ones, non-traditional Head Start agency, to be funded by the state to provide Head Start. We had to have a viable parent council. The parent council had to approve everything. So how do you start this, knowing you're going to use ECAP slots and don't have parents involved?
There's a hidden agenda. The hidden hand is there. We just don't see it yet. It has not been revealed yet, and that's what the problem is. Before we go,
but if nothing else, I want to expose it.
Yes.
And make sure that the community is aware, because there's not a plan to keep that ECAP program in PS. It's to move it.
Oh, see, I didn't know that part. We got 2 more minutes in your segment, and I want to use it if I could have that privilege to use your 2 minutes.
Bring it.
We have election. We get ready to work.
All hell's gonna break loose
with this whole
when you know the primary field gonna be come day after tomorrow. All hell's gonna break loose.
Well, the question I was going to ask is, on this, we know we got a governor. We got somebody running for governor. Not somebody, but.
So for 2022,
okay, 2022, yes.
The positions that are up, and this only happens every 12 years, is the congressperson leads the ticket. So Congress is the highest office. Then the statewide are the Attorney General, State Treasurer, State Auditor.
Okay.
Those are, because of redistricting, all 62 General Assembly seats are up. So all state senators, all state House. On the county side in Newcastle County, you have District 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are up. And then
What district are you?
I'm
10.
District 10.
Oh, you're not up.
No, but
I thought we was gonna get rid of you.
you started, okay?
Okay.
But the fact of the matter is, this show is so effective,
Okay.
okay, and they're so upset that they were plotting to bring somebody against me in the election, and I'm not even up for election.
That's why I asked the question. I heard that they were going to put somebody up to get rid of you and my buddy Penrose, which he is up for election.
Correct.
All right, but that's how silly. How I got another word I could use, but I'm gonna be careful.
And to be it this year or 2 years from now, I'm happy to run off my record.
Yeah, most definitely.
But the ironic part is that when the election came in 2020, I had basically decided I wasn't going to run anymore because the 2 major things I wanted to accomplish were the library on Route 9 and the school funding litigation, getting away the funding for high poverty schools. Then I had somebody of supposed influence, significant influence, of saying that he was going to take me out. I was like, you running around telling people you're going just for that I'm running.
There you go. That's how
now
we work.
you put me back in the same situation.
Yeah, right.
Again.
Oh, and you want to know why I act like that? It must be a Q thing. Because we ain't connected no other kind of way.
Well, I guess when we say don't nobody walk like a dog from America, they're going to find out don't nobody run like a dog from America.
Oh, Lord, you got to him started. That's old school. So you got those individuals running.
Yes.
And I know we're out of time, but we got those individuals running. We know about the auditor. She's going to run. They're going to run somebody against her. What do you think her chances will be?
So,
Your own prediction.
50-50.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it's going to be 50-50 at
Okay.
this point.
Okay.
It's going to be a very good race to watch. Again, it's a race that a lot of people actually don't have interest in, so you usually see lower numbers in voting there, whereas the Attorney General's more, a position people will look towards. And then, of course, the Congress
That's what I'm gonna ask you.
position would be the biggest
Now,
vote.
is anybody running against her on the Democratic side?
Yes.
No.
Who?
Not on the Democratic side.
Not the Republican side, I'm sure.
Oh, who?
Lisa.
Right,
Congresswoman.
right.
All right, okay.
Johnson.
So nobody's running against her, so at least
Correct.
we believe she'd be safe.
Yes.
And that's the only ones that. Oh, Attorney General.
Yes.
She's running.
Yes, she's running. No one's running in a primary.
Well, you know why? Because she must be. She's running. You ain't had nothing to say about that.
Well, even though I qualified to run for Attorney General, because you don't have to be a lawyer, I decided not to run. Cut her a break.
Wow. I thought that. Oh man.
And there's a two-way primary on the Republican side for that seat. For auditor, there's one Republican running, and it's a Democratic primary on the other side. And then for state treasurer, there's one Democrat, one Republican running.
Yeah. Good show today, fellas. A good show. Go
But
ahead.
I'm serious about this. The things I talked about last week and all the things that are unique to Wilmington that Wilmington does not have, like control of the poor, control of education of its children. The other thing that the state of Delaware does not have is a viable, functioning black caucus.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's one of the few states in the country. Okay? And we had a black caucus, and then because of all the division.
Can I say this to you?
Because of all the division,
Yeah.
the legislative had to come together and form their own caucus.
Yeah.
But most other states in the union have statewide black caucuses of black elected officials, and I think we need to have a come to Jesus meeting.
But the city council did that. The black city council leadership did that under your good friend and builder of all the places and got indicted and everything else. They did this between, and I know I get in trouble by just saying what I believe, but between Hanifa and Mr. What's the other one named? The city council president. The one that was the city council president.
Theo.
Theo. That's a lot of that confusion and playing games and playing people against each other.
No, but it goes back further than that. Okay, it goes back to when all the time that had to be spent, because I don't care what anybody says. Dennis was right. Theo started running against Dennis the moment he was sworn
That's
in.
right. That's right.
And the division,
he just agreed with us.
the division that started then is carried over. And all I'm saying is, when the dust settles from this primary, we need to have a come to Jesus.
And I
meeting
think that has to happen.
And try to bring everybody together. We're not going to ever agree on everything, but we need to move collectively and together on the things that we do agree on.
Right. That's right. And what you did was you just agreed with me. Because I said, I was trying to be polite.
Is there something wrong with us agreeing?
Yeah, it is, because we're not supposed to agree. The only time we agree is when we fight in the mayor. But in this case, we talk about black people. And I have an issue, seriously, with the fact that the moment that the mayor, Williams, ran, he came up against him. But he's not the only one, but he was the one who started a lot of this junk. And even though he's not in the sight right now, and I see him being the good old deacon over at the church, the reality of it is right now, I am concerned that we have no real representation. Nobody can pull nobody in and say, hey, look, bro, don't do that. Right now, everybody's loose. Everybody do what they want to do. And I think the caucus can talk. If we trust each other in the caucus, we can come out with the right agenda.
I'm sorry. Okay, leadership historically and traditionally in our community has not been limited to black elected officials. And the division I'm talking about among black elected officials is not unique to black elected officials. Y'all got a problem too.
Oh, yes.
The division among y'all. And
You say y'all mean ministers?
Yes.
They put me out.
Well,
They put me out. I'm not a part of them no more.
My point being, okay, historically and traditionally, ministers provided the leadership because they were independent.
That's right.
And the individual business owners provided because they were independent. And if we don't all come together and work on a collective agenda for our community, we're not doing what we're supposed to do. It's embarrassing to look at other states that have a functional black caucus by state. They're doing things, at least providing scholarships, at least having community activities. We're not doing anything.
Well, I agree with you, but I just want to let you know, I agree with you 100%. They put me out. So I'm not a part of that group anymore. But guess what? I'm still building. I'm still making things happen. I'm still changing lives.
But that doesn't help the big picture.
Right, and
y'all have got to come together.
That's exactly
too.
right. And at some point, a come to Jesus meeting has to occur, because when you start exposing the weaklings, it's going to make it happen.
But is it going to take Jesus to bring it together?
I hope not, because when he comes, it's going to be over.
Or are we going to try to provide and put leaders together to make this happen? Because we can't continue down this road. And as I said, as it relates to the shootings and the crime and all that, ain't nobody going to help us but us.
Yeah. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
This is Jay Street.
Thank you for watching Source. God bless.